All right, so today we are going deep on Uniswap.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
So for this deep dive, we're going to be talking mostly about Uniswap, and I think it's a really cool platform for, people getting into crypto.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we'll be going over some like intro stuff too. So if you are brand new to crypto, you're in the right place. We've
Exactly.
got some good articles and
Yeah,
research.
yeah, and we're going to try to break it down for beginners
Mm-hmm.
and make it so that by the end of this, you'll know all about decentralized exchanges and specifically Uniswap.
Yeah, so you can trade without a middleman. Like imagine trading, I don't know, baseball cards, but with crypto
Yeah,
on the blockchain.
yeah, exactly. And we'll get into exactly what that means. But first, I want to know, like, what is Uniswap? I feel like I hear that name everywhere, but I don't really know, like, what separates it from other exchanges.
Right. So imagine like you're on a platform and you can exchange one cryptocurrency for another. But there's no Coinbase, there's no Binance, there's no like big name that's kind of the middleman.
Yeah.
That's kind of Uniswap in a nutshell. It uses the Ethereum blockchain and smart contracts to kind of automate the whole process.
Okay, so you said smart contracts, and that kind of sounds like something I need a law degree for.
No, not really. They're way simpler than they sound. It's kind of like, think of it like a vending machine. You put in the tokens, the smart contract is going to check if everything's like on the up and up,
Hmm.
and then you get your desired tokens back.
Okay.
It's like that, automatic and transparent.
So it's like a self-operating exchange.
Yeah.
There's no, like, person in the background here has to go, okay, approved.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that makes it so popular. It's just, it's fast, it's efficient, it's open to everyone as long as you have an internet connection.
Nice. And so we were talking about this cutting out the middleman thing. Like, what's the big deal about that? Why would I want to use Uniswap instead of Coinbase or something like that?
Well, one of the biggest things is control, right? When you use those big exchanges, you're handing over your assets, you're handing over your data to a third party. But with Uniswap, you hold your own keys.
Oh, right.
You have direct control of your funds.
So no more worrying about, oh, is this exchange going to freeze my account or did they get hacked?
Exactly. You are your own bank, and that's like a really powerful concept in crypto. Plus, usually the fees are way lower on a DX than those big centralized platforms.
Okay, I'm starting to see why people like this. So how does it actually work? Like behind the scenes, what is making this possible?
So at the heart of Uniswap are these things called liquidity pools.
Okay.
So imagine like big pools of all sorts of different tokens that users like you can orbit. So when you want to swap your tokens, you're basically drawing from these pools.
Okay.
And the smart contract automatically calculates the exchange rate based on like how many of each token are in the pool.
Interesting. So these liquidity providers, they're kind of like the backbone of Uniswap.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without them, there would be no tokens to swap. And the cool part is anyone can be a liquidity provider. You can earn a share of the fees from the platform.
Wait, so I can make money just by like putting tokens into the pool?
Yeah. It's kind of like being a mini bank in the Uniswap ecosystem.
Okay.
You provide the liquidity, people trade, you get a cut, passive income.
That sounds awesome. But I feel like there's got to be a catch, White. Nothing's perfect.
You're right. There are some things you have to watch out for. One thing is gas fees.
Ugh, gas fees.
Yeah, I know everyone hates them.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're the cost of using the Ethereum network.
Okay.
Every transaction on Uniswap, whether you're swapping, you're adding liquidity,
Uh-huh.
it's going to require a small fee that you pay in ETH. Think of it like, a toll you got to pay on the Ethereum highway.
Okay. So I have to factor that in every time I'm using Uniswap.
Yeah, unfortunately you do. And they can fluctuate, depending on how congested the network is. And sometimes they can get pretty high, especially during, peak hours.
Right.
It's something to keep in mind when you're deciding how much you want to trade.
Okay, gas fees. Got it. What else? Anything else I should be aware of before I dive in?
Well, another thing is, Uniswap has gone through a few versions since it started. Each version has like made improvements and addressed some of the challenges from the previous one.
Oh, okay. So it hasn't always been smooth sailing.
Not exactly, no.
I want to hear about that.
Yeah, so remember those liquidity pools?
Yeah.
Well, in the early days of Uniswap, like V1,
Okay.
they had this issue called impermanent loss.
Uh-oh. Impermanent loss. That does not sound good. What is that?
So basically, it happens when the price of the tokens in your liquidity pool
Okay.
changes like a lot from when you first put them in.
Okay.
And if the difference gets big enough, you could end up with less value than you started with.
So it's like my investment's losing value even though I haven't like sold anything.
Exactly, yeah. And it's called impermanent because, if the prices like go back to how they were originally,
Yeah.
it goes away.
Oh, okay.
But if it doesn't, then it becomes permanent.
Okay, so that's something to think about when you're providing liquidity. So what do they do to try to fix that?
So that's where V2 came in. They made a bunch of improvements,
Yeah.
made it more user-friendly, but the biggest thing I think was V3.
Okay, V3. So this is where it gets good. What they do with V3?
So they introduced this thing called concentrated liquidity. I know it's kind of technical, but it basically lets providers like pick a price range
Okay.
for their liquidity.
So instead of me just throwing my tokens in and hoping for the best, I can
Right.
be a little more strategic about it.
Exactly. You can focus your liquidity, maybe maximize your returns a bit,
Yeah.
lower your risk. It's like fine-tuning your strategy.
Okay, cool. So anyone can become a liquidity provider like we were talking about.
Yeah.
What does that actually look like? Like, walk me through the steps.
So first, you got to pick a pool, right?
Okay.
That matches what you're looking for.
Right.
There's tons of different pools on Uniswap. They all have like different tokens, different levels of risk.
Okay.
So you really got to like do your research before you just jump in.
Right.
And once you pick your pool, you got to connect your wallet, you know?
Yep. MetaMask, all that.
Exactly. Yep. And then you approve the transaction. That'll cost a little gas.
Gas fees.
Yeah. But once that's done, your tokens are in and you're officially a liquidity provider.
Cool. And then I just like sit back and let the money roll in?
Yeah, kinda. It's not totally passive. You know, you want to keep an eye on things,
Right.
make sure everything's not how you want.
Okay.
But it's definitely a pretty hands-off way to maybe earn some rewards on your crypto.
That's cool. So we talked about how anyone can use Uniswap, but there are definitely some steps I need to take before I can just start swapping tokens, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's simple in theory, but there's a few practical things you got to do to actually get going.
Okay, let's talk about that. All right, so let's walk through it. What do I need to do to start swapping?
Well, like we were talking about before, you need a wallet, right? So
Yep.
MetaMask, Trust Wallet,
Yeah.
Coinbase Wallet, all those good ones.
Okay.
So it's like your crypto keychain keeps everything safe.
Okay, so I pick a wallet, I get it all set up,
Yep,
and then I got to get some crypto in there.
exactly. Yeah, you can buy it right on some of the wallets, or you can transfer it from an exchange you're already using.
Right.
It's basically like funding your account.
Right.
But, you know, you always have control of your funds. That's the beauty of it.
Got it. So I got my crypto. What do I do next?
Head over to the Uniswap website.
Okay.
It's a pretty straightforward interface. They've had it really easy to use.
Okay.
Don't get scared by the charts and stuff. It's simpler than it looks.
All right, I'm on the website. Now what?
Now you get to pick what to trade. So you'll see like two drop-down menus.
Okay.
One is the token you're swapping from.
Mhm.
The other is what you want to swap to.
Easy enough.
Yeah. So let's say you have some Ethereum. You want to try out one of those meme coins.
Okay. Yep.
You would pick Ethereum in the first box.
Mm-hmm.
Find your meme coin in the second.
Gotcha. And they've got a good selection there.
Oh, yeah. They support like tons of different tokens from, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the big ones,
Yeah.
to some of the smaller, less known tokens as well.
Cool. All right, I picked my tokens. What's next?
So you're going to enter the amount you want to swap,
Okay.
and then Uniswap will show you like about how much you'll get back based on the current exchange rate.
Right.
You know, things change all the time, the prices fluctuate.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not be exactly what you see on your first look.
Right. That's part of it fun.
Yep. So once you double check everything,
Yeah.
make sure the amounts look good,
Mm-hmm.
hit that swap button.
Ooh.
There's one more step.
Okay.
So you'll see a summary of the transaction. It'll show the gas fees, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Got to see those gas fees.
Yeah. Always important to check those. They can change based on like, you know, how busy the network is. Once you look it all over, make sure you're happy with it, hit confirm, and that's it. You've done your first swap.
Awesome. I'm officially in the world of decentralized exchange.
You are. And the best part is, like we were saying, you are always in control of your money
Right.
every step of the way.
This has been a really cool deep dive. I feel like I went from being like, crypto what? To, okay, I kind of understand this now.
Yeah,
Especially Uniswap. I think it's really interesting.
absolutely.
Any last thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up?
You know, I would just say, if you're new to all this,
Yeah.
start small. Do your research. Don't be afraid to try things out. This world is constantly changing.
Yes.
Platforms like Uniswap are making it easier than ever for everyone to get involved.
Yeah, for sure. So to everyone listening, keep exploring,
Yeah.
keep learning, and maybe you'll discover the next big thing.